Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to another day of startup finals judging for the Extreme Tech Challenge. Today, this segment is on education technology. My name is John Martin. I handle partner and operations management for Extreme Tech Challenge, and I will be the host and MC today. The Extreme Tech Challenge is the world's largest innovation ecosystem for disruptive startups pursuing responsible innovation to make the world a radically better place. Our competition categories were developed based on the framework of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, several of which, if you look at them, have to do with advancing education for all mankind, hence today's category of education technology. XTC was founded by Young Sun and Bill Tai, two Silicon Valley-based investors, corporate executives, and entrepreneurs. They relaunched XTC in 2019 as a call to action for the business, investor, and entrepreneur community to come together and support transformative technologies to power our future. XTC is a concerted effort by industry leaders and entrepreneurs to make real progress in solving the world's major challenges as not only the right thing to do, but as, in fact, a driver of superior business results and investment opportunities. Because for us, a core part of overall sustainability is economic sustainability. Through our annual competition, XTC provides exceptional startups with global visibility, access to investment capital, corporate collaborations, and world-class mentorships. The XTC community is The XTC community is comprised of Fortune 500 companies, VCs, tech founders, policymakers, foundations, universities, and other change makers working together to create a better tomorrow. Through participating, exceptional startups gain global visibility, increase access to raise capital, engage in corporate strategic partnerships, and develop mentor relationships and friendships that will carry them far beyond XTC. This year, over 3,700 startups applied from 92 countries. 80 finalists were selected by over 300 judges across our 21 regional competitions on every continent. The 80 exceptional global finalists represent the top 2% of a very competitive application pool. To learn more about the startups presented today and more finalists from our other categories, these are the 8 who will be presenting today. Unifa, Thinkerbell Labs, Cogniable, Testmaster, Screeware, Equal Reality, Jib, and Sense Education. We also have a global panel of judges, and I'd like to introduce, and you'll see each of them speak today, Scott Arminani, a professor of disruptive innovation at the University of Southern California, Catherine Bischoff, a board member of the Extreme Tech Challenge and formerly head of the incubator in Europe, Factory Berlin, and now also Factory Hamburg. Chris Chu, Managing Director of the Catalyst Fund for Samsung Electronics. Lolly David, Head of Business Development for Our Crowd, an investment fund and networking organization in Israel. And Amanda Terry, co-founder of the Acti Unicorn Fund 2. These again are the 8 companies that you'll be hearing from today, ranging from Japan through Israel and Africa to the United States and Europe. So you'll see an equally global representation in this education category. To learn more about these startups and ones from all the other categories, please go to go.philo.co/XTC, where we have set up virtual booths for each of the companies that have many interesting informations for you to review. Also, please watch the other streams. Tomorrow, we will be doing Health Tech Part 2, Friday, Mobility and Smart Cities, Monday, Enabling Technologies, and Tuesday, the first part of Clean Tech. And Wednesday, it doesn't show there, but the second part of Clean Tech. All of those will be available as live streams on Zoom. You can also vote for your favorite. Where is that? Isn't on here. But if you go to extremetechchallenge.com, you can vote for your favorite startup from this cohort for a People's Choice Award. The winner of the People's Choice Award, along with these category winners and the special award winners, will win a coveted spot to pitch on the main stage for the finale event, which is the Extreme Tech Challenge 2021 Global Finals presented by TechCrunch. This will be streamed at 9 a.m. Pacific Time US on July 22nd. And it will be a very exciting program for you to hear all of these winners pitch for the opportunity to be designated as the overall winner of 2021. There will also be some interesting networking sessions and other speakers to be announced soon. So I thank you very much for coming this morning and hope to see you again throughout the summer. With that, I believe we are ready for Unifa from Japan, who will be our first presenter. So let me unshare. And Unifa, if you can take the stage and present your slides, please.
Hey. Hi, everybody. This is Unifa, CEO Yasuki Toki. Unifa is a company which are doing the childcare tech company, especially for the infant baby or the very young child babies. This is Yasuki Toki, founder of Unifa. I was working at the Lauren Berger and Consulting. My founding story was that I had a kid. My wife was working. That time, I thought that my most important thing was to take care of my kids. So the founding story was that for 3 years, I stayed at home as a dad. I quit my job and I focused on the child care. And also, my sister was working as a child care professional, staff for the child care centers. So about 10 years ago, I decided to find the Unifa. Unifa means unify and a family. Our purpose of our company is creating new infrastructure so that brings happiness to family all over the world. To achieve this purpose, at least in Japan, social issues here. As you know, Japan is an aging society. In order to assure the labor population, now the utilization ratio of child care center is more than 50%. And therefore, after the female environment ratio is more than 70%. Now, the child care center is very important, essential social infrastructure in Japan. But very serious problem is happening. Very seriously lacking shortage of the child care professional. At least in Tokyo, jobs to application ratio of child care professional is more than 6 times. And also, 60% of the people who have the license child care centers are not working at that. So it's a very high turnover ratio. The reason why this high turnover ratio is that the long labor working hours. Almost all working out, all handwriting. For example, as you can see here, Japanese child care center are taking care of the infant baby. At the nap time, a child care center have to avoid the child care sudden infant death. Therefore, while the kids are sleeping, they have to lie down each 5 minutes, maybe sleeping position, whether they are sleeping on the stomach or whether they are sleeping on the head. So they have to lie down each narrow by each 5 minutes for each kid. It's very heavy burden. Therefore, we bring these kind of sensors, and the kids can wear these kind of sensors on the stomach. After that, our healthcare device can detect this kind of baby body position, and also this kind of photo. Teacher of child care center can wear this kind of camera. After that, camera can take the photo automatically, and automatically a photo uploaded. And after that, kids parents can buy the photo, and this contacting note is already up. Through this kind of solution, we are creating a smart child care center solution. By this solution, childcare staff can prepare the time to spare or room in their heart. And after that, they can improve the quality of the education and the quality of childcare. Now we are dominating the Japanese childcare market. The CAGR of our revenue is 90%, and our revenue is more than the 18 million US dollars. The total number of childcare centers in Japan is about 50,000, but now the number of our introduction is 10,000. Now we're dominating these kind of the Japanese childcare centers. And global competitor is here. All the competitor is only the B2C solution. Only Unify is doing this kind of B2B childcare industry kind of the digital transformation through the IoT and AI technology. We are calculating these kind of the so many photos and vital data. We have more than 100 million child photos, and we are doing the developing the facial recognition technology. By using this kind of the technology, we can know the childcare human relationship, or what the kids are like, or what the childcare what kids' consciousness or so. So children can't speak a lot what they like, but by analyzing these huge childcare data, we can create a personalized childcare. And now in Asia, the number of the childcare centers is dramatically increasing. Singapore, or China, and Vietnam. So now from now on, we are planning to introduce this kind of the smart childcare center solution at first not only Japan but to the Asia, and also by accumulating this kind of the childcare data, we will create this kind of the child-centric care and education. But through this solution, we are creating the new infrastructure for the society that brings happiness to the family all over the world. Thank you very much.
Okay, judges, please ask away.
I have a question. Thank you for your presentation.
Please.
It sounds like right now you have over 10,000 locations or childcare centers that have installed your solutions, mm-hmm. and that there are 50,000 childcare centers in Japan. Mm-hmm. What are the limits or the obstacles to capturing the rest of the market, the other 40,000 childcare centers? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, at first, at least in Japanese childcare center market, roughly speaking, the private childcare center and also the public sector does exist. But half of them are the public sector. Then the public childcare center is very low-tech, analog. Internet and LAN is not, it does not assure that so. So in this sense, at the moment, addressable market would be the 25,000 childcare centers. In this private childcare center, we're dominating now. But Japanese government decided to open the internet to this kind of the public childcare center also. So in this 2 or 3 years, this public sector will be also the addressable market for us. At that time, the market share will be more jump up. Then after that, we think that this kind of the data is this kind of the picture and the vital data is very, very essential data for the Japanese society itself. Is it okay for me, for you?
Yes, thank you. And a follow-on question. For the other areas the other geographies that you want to enter, are there similar structures where there's a private sector that has solid infrastructure and a public sector that is lacking that same solid infrastructure?
Yes. Not only the private sector, but also the public sector, the staff of the childcare center is very, very lacking. And then in this sense, we think that our solution itself is very, very workable also for the public sectors.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question about the team itself. I noticed that you have an all-male management team, and I wondered about the input that you're sourcing from women in your product development to actually define that happiness that you say that is attainable for all families through your product solution?
So you mean that the management team, the female people, does it exist or not? Also, could you clarify your question again?
Yeah, I'm just like to understand more about the makeup of the overall team and to understand the potential biases that may come up because of different perspectives that perhaps are not represented.
I see. Well, at least as our board member of Unify, which for not the inside but as kind of the outside board member is that two female member, our board member, and also many our staff member. The total number of the staff member is about 150 staff member, and half of them are women. And most of many people have the experience who work at the child care centers or the who are running the child care center company or so. So in this sense, our staff member have the very deep insight or understanding for the child care center or the educational background.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a few questions for you. I'd love to learn more about your revenue model and also distribution model for the childcare centers. And then my third question is just around any privacy concerns of kind of using AI to profile children. Have you run into that at all in Japan? I'm just wondering if there's different laws in different countries around that.
See, our business model is two. First of all, this kind of the IoT product for the child care center is a kind of the subscription model. So child care center are paying for us. So about for the one child care center paying for us about $4,000 per year or so. So this is kind of the subscription model. Churn ratio for a year per year is just 4 or 3% per annual churn rate. So very conservative industry. Therefore, once they start to use our services, never stop our services. And also, as for the photo services, the parents pay for us. Parents or the grandfather and grandparents buy the photo and movie for the kids and grandparents. At that time, our parents pay for us. So our business model is B2B and B2B2C. This is kind of the hybrid business model. Then my next one is AI. Is our engineers R&D team existing in Tokyo, and not only Japanese but also all over the world. We are hiring the excellent engineers, and we are developing this kind of facial recognition technology or the scene analysis or this kind of object recognition. This technology was developed by Unify itself. And we believe that this kind of the data itself, so child care data itself, is Google and Amazon never have this kind of data. So we are creating these kind of the infant babies, this kind of educational or healthcare data. By analyzing this kind of data, we will make it clear what the infant baby child care growth and this kind of thing by Japanese Unify team.
Okay, I also have one question. A great presentation. Wanted to know what impact do you see that Unify's child care infrastructure service will have on the Japanese education system?
Well, always in Japan, once your kids goes to for example, 3 years old birthday, most of the educational intellectual toy or educational material is all same. 3 years old kids are all same material. But we believe that all kids should have a different consciousness or different interest. So we think that at first what we have to do is that we have to make it clear that each kid's consciousness or each kid's interest at first. For example, one boy likes the insect or the kind of history or this kind of most kids has a different interest. at first, by introducing this kind of smart child care center, we will make it clear that each kid's consciousness at first. After that, we think that we will provide this kind of each kid's personalized educational material, each kid's personalized toy book or picture book or so. By creating this solution, we can create this kind of personalized educational system in Japan. So now, at least it's at the present time, the educational material quality is all the same, but we will make the educational system more personalized one.
Thank you.
Yes, that will finish Unifa. Thank you very much for the presentation. And next up will be Thinkerbell. Is Sanskriti in to take the stage and open your slides?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sanskriti. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Thinkerbell Labs. We're making education inclusive for visually impaired students all over the world. And I'd like to start with a short video where you can hear directly from our users.
You are ready for your next real adventure.
सिखाया जाता है तो बहुत कलम के साथ मुश्किल होती है यानी इतना आसानी से उसको सिखा रहा है इसको समझने के लिए रहने वाले छात्रों को बहुत मदद मिलेगी
अद्भुत
बच्चा जो है पढ़ता रहेगा और सीखेगा खेल खेल में
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಮಿಯಾ है ना पेर हेलो मैं एनी
As a blind parent myself, I just want to comment that Annie does an excellent job of really kind of integrating and mixing sort of this fun and educational concept of gamifying things for the student and being able to integrate that with the learning management system of Helios so that the teacher can follow exactly where they are, whether they're doing it in the classroom or at home. So that's really, really powerful.
We love Annie. Annie has learned. Learn with fun. Annie number one. Annie number one.
All right. So that's the video. And I'd like to get into the pitch now. So like I said, we're making education inclusive for visually impaired students. As you can imagine, during the pandemic, that has become even more of a pressing need globally. So the key problem that we're solving is heavy dependence on hand-holding by special educators. That's literally the only way to learn Braille before Annie came along. And in times of the pandemic, you can imagine, and even before the pandemic, actually, global literacy rates are astonishingly low. They're less than 10% in the US, less than 4% in the UK, and less than 1% in India, all because of outdated teaching methods. So we've developed Annie. Annie is the world's first remote-enabled device for the visually impaired. It has a connected learning platform, Helios, along with it. And we have more than 200 hours of Braille learning content across 8 languages as of today. And we're continuously scaling because of our modular content architecture. So Annie is named after Anne Sullivan, Helen Keller's teacher, and it's a voice persona that teaches the child, corrects them, and helps them repeat and memorize, even with tactile literacy and reading, writing, and typing. So in India, we've set up more than 40 Annie smart classes. Internationally, we deploy with the help of distributor resellers, where it's 1 Annie per child. And the initiative has been lauded by the Planning Commission of India, the Prime Minister, as well as recently referred to as a model initiative for educational development by the UNDP. To sum up, the technology that we're basing the foundation of literacy on is, we were ready with it before the pandemic as well, and this has reflected in our growth. and we're just getting started. We're delivering a new kind of learning experience to students, starting at foundational literacy. And we believe we can fundamentally transform this space, not just for visually impaired children, but in the broader picture, bringing that kind of cross-stakeholder visibility is very important for all special needs children. So if for the bigger picture, we're targeting around 15% of the entire EdTech market, because that's the special needs sector. And there are some consolidated needs independent of individual disability. So we've been growing 2x, 3x every year. We developed Annie. We've put in more than 5 years of research as a team. I started this company straight out of college with my college friends, and we've grown consistently year on year. And this year, I think we're going to grow more than 4x, because we're setting up our footprint in US, UK, Canada, and Australia, in addition to India. The pandemic did a lot of things, but it also brought people closer. So we're launching in the international markets where there are ring-fenced budgets for special education needs. So even a small fraction of these translate to multi-million dollars in ARR. And this year we're targeting $500,000 just from the US alone. And this will come from government funding. So we actually have received the technical approval for that, and we're in the final negotiating phases of the contract. I would like to mention a bit about my team. We're a small team, we're a product company, so small team, bigger results. And all of us are very motivated towards the final goal of creating that impact with the technology we've built. We've built our hardware and software in-house, and we're all ready to scale up this year. We're backed by world-class investors, including industrialists like Mr. Anand Mahindra or Raman Roy, the father of Indian BPO sector. And we're looking to get partners and investors from all over the world for the next exciting phase of growth. We would invite you to invest in the future of inclusive education, or partner with us, or any way we can help expand our work. Would love to connect with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanskriti. So open for questions from the judges.
Maybe on my end, can you share a little bit of the success of the integration of the product with customers? What was the main benefit? What did you learn from like the first 20 installations and improving in the next batch?
So from the first few installations, we actually got I thought we mentioned in the video. So we've had 2,000 hours of learning on Annie so far. And that we think is our biggest achievement, because those are 2,000 hours of self-guided learning that would have been impossible without personal tutoring from a trained teacher otherwise. So that is a game changer. And I mean, if you ask about learnings, we keep updating our content and UX continuously, because all our devices are OTA enabled. So we can, all Annies are connected devices. We can both push content and monitor our learning outcomes all the time. And they're also designed to work in low connectivity areas and remote areas of India. So we've learned that children vastly prefer games to lessons. So we've built in controls for the teachers to be able to, assign homework saying, okay, you have to finish this lesson. So the next time you turn on an Annie and log in with your user ID, they have to complete certain lessons before they even get to access the games section. So the way the content is designed is fairly similar to a video game, where you cannot access level 6 till you finish level 5 with a certain degree of proficiency. And that approach, I think, is something that we've built over time, seeing our users, real-time engagement over various sections, and sort of integrating that with the needs of teachers and the learning outcomes they must accomplish.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Yes. How do you plan to expand your products and services beyond the Braille infrastructure in the midterm?
So one area we want to expand in, like currently Annie serves the K5 market at best. People do need to practice Braille a lot in the initial years. So there is several years of engagement for a single student. But what we're looking to bring is the learning experience that Annie provides beyond teaching Braille. So whether you're learning history or science or coding, we want to bring the same features of cross-stakeholder visibility and that gamified approach to the future lessons that you're doing. So we're actually developing a device-agnostic software learning experience. For lack of a better example, think about it as the Android of Braille devices. So the software experience that we're building will run on any Braille device, and it'll increase our subscriber base to K-12 because we're targeting the 90% of the market that doesn't know Braille today. So we're expanding the pipeline dramatically. And within the K-12 space also, we're supporting them much beyond Braille. I would also like to mention the connected platform Helios that currently is primarily used not by the student, but by the teacher, the administrators, and the funding authorities to sort of keep tabs on how much children are learning and whether that's meeting their goals. And that is a need that is common across various special needs. So we actually have a few investors on board who have special needs children themselves, and so they know the process intimately as parents, as doctors, as people in the ecosystem. So we want to take the tiger momming aspect out of it. We want to make the technology give continuous updates to everybody, and that is the part that is scalable way beyond a particular special need, and it's 15% of the education market. So that's what we hope to capture in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe are there other products similar to that in the market addressing this need?
For Annie, there is one product. Yes, it's a company called Taptilo, but in the breadth that they cover about 20 to 25%, I would say, even in sheer components that Annie has. So we've designed Annie with the goal that once you're done with the content on Annie, you should be able to use any Braille resource out there. Once you use our competitor's device, you would still need an Annie to learn Braille actually, because for Braille, the key part is learning to develop tactile sensitivity. Like I've been in this industry for 8 years now, and I can sight read Braille, but if you ask me to close my eyes and read with my fingers, I wouldn't be able to do it because that is the part that takes a lot of repetition and practice. So one major differentiator between us and our competitor is that they don't teach standard size Braille at all. And that's where Annie really shines, in that it is a complete solution for that foundational literacy piece and not just a nice to have for one part of it.
Thank you.
Okay, is that it, or maybe one more at most question?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, just one more, John, please. I have a question about the business model. So if I understood the figures correctly, revenues were pretty close to expenses right now. Is that correct? And
yeah.
What events need to occur for you to then break through that linkage to the point where you're very, very profitable and therefore returning on the investment? So it's just scale at this point. So we targeted 530 Annies this year for EBITDA positivity. For context, the contract that we're signing with a US distributor is 2,000 Annies over 3 years with an upfront software payment as well. So just with one distributor, we're overshooting our target for the year in terms of being profitable. And we're also getting heavy interest from Canada, New Zealand, UK, and Australia as well. So all of those, it's just a function of scale. And due to the way the industries work, it is basic ARR. So now, I mean, all the distributors tend to sign multi-year contracts. So for us, I believe, I mean, by Q3 of this year is the point where we shoot past that mark of selling enough to be profitable. And every year beyond that is, that's fixed revenue, because that truly isn't a competitor for what we do. And other than just distributing the device to consumers, what roles do the distributors play? They also provide training and after-sales support. So that's really key in a sector like ours, because everything hinges on support. So that's also actually a good revenue stream for us, because in this sector, it is very common to give extended warranty and annual maintenance contracts. And the distributors have those relationships going for them, existing as well. So they act as a large school district wouldn't purchase, devices like this if they didn't have a solid maintenance plan, because they're for kids, right? So
the way we design them, and the whole reverse supply chain also needs to be established. So they actually do handle a lot beyond being the last point of contact for sales, but also providing continued support and ensuring the stickiness of the technology is actually implemented in the customer's space.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Tinkerbell. We're now going to move on to Manu and Cogniable. I should mention that Tinkerbell came to us from the NXP Startup India competition, which is a partner with NXP. Cogniable came to us through the TechSparks 30 competition late last year, which is another partner in India with XTC. So Cogniable, please proceed.
Yes, Manu.
Hi, is our screen visible?
Yes, we see you and your presentation.
Great.
Yeah, here's Manu and myself, Swati. Yeah, hello everybody. Here's Manu and myself, Swati Kohli. We are co-founder of Cogniable and parent of a teen with autism. Cogniable is a mobile app services for screening and treatment of neurodevelopmental disorders such as autism. We are based out of India and US. I'm a board certified behavior analyst. I have been practicing early intervention services for the last 21 years. A delay in the diagnosis and subsequent treatment of autism in our son, Ekagr, motivated us to start Cogniable in 2017 with an objective to empower clinicians, teachers, and parents with technology-based content and data-based decision through AI-based technologies.
This is a very underserved market, from 1 in 1,000 in 1995 to 1 in 54. The autism numbers have really flared up. Almost 20% of children show developmental issues such as learning disability, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, and early intervention during first 5 years can really improve the inclusion in the school society. And that's what we are doing with technology at Cogniable. Early detection and early intervention for neurodevelopmental disorders like autism. And Cogniable really aligns to the XTC mission of responsible innovation for the radically better world. And we this year aim to impact 10,000 lives with our solution. So there are two solutions, two services. One is early detection and the second one is early intervention. So how does early detection works? You ask a parent or a clinician or a school teacher to fill up a simple questionnaire of 20 questions that have been prepared by a lot of research. Based on those 20 questions, world largest clinical trial that we are running with 6 hospitals shows excellent result of 90% plus sensitivity specificity. A parent then records a play-based video with a child and then submits it on the cloud platform, and that video is analyzed by an AI engine on a human action recognition model and gives you a result within a span of 20 to 25 minutes. So this is, if you really see this video, in this clinician is engaging a child on imitation skills, expressive language skill, joint attention skills, and this has been trained over a data of 1,250 subjects, where the benchmarks, the children's skills on autism or normal development child have been benchmarked, and this is also giving an excellent results. Almost, as I said, 85 to 87% on the sensitivity specificities. So this is, on the detection. What we do on the intervention or treatment side is a mobile app or a web app, which is being used by almost 35 clinics in India and US. It allows the clinicians to prepare goals, short-term goals and long-term goals. Individualized education program has 4 or 5 evidence-based assessments integrated into it. And you probably are trying to teach a child on toilet training and washing in hand. It gives you complete instructions on how you should be teaching that and gives you a training video on how you should be demonstrating that. Once you teach that to a child, a parent, a clinician and a school, they all come onto a common digital platform because there is a continuous information sync that is happening. The platform also offers almost 800 targets on the curriculum, which are evidence-based and offer very advanced machine learning models. So one of this is showing a similarity score of a child, fictitious child Livia, with other 5 children from whom the goals can be copied. It also shows on the natural language processing part the skills or the target that have been taught to a child, how they are connected to each other or synced to each other on a graph theory or a social network model where you should be putting more resources to ensure that the child's overall learning is maximized. And the third part is similar to Netflix and Amazon model, where it suggests that what are the skills that you should be teaching to a child best, because other child similar to that has been doing that progress. Our platform has, as I said, showing a excellent sensitivity and specificity scores around the world's largest clinical trials on the screening side. And on the intervention platform, we have shown our AI models to perform almost 85 to 88% accuracy in predicting what skills we should be teaching to a child. And in peak of the COVID, it has shown improvement in the social communication skills and reduction in autism severity by almost 5.5 points on a social responsiveness scale. We are working with government of Maharashtra, government of Tamil Nadu, and we also have almost 35 clinics in India and US, and almost more than 1,000 families using Cognable till now. It works on a subscription-based model with a differential pricing in India and US. The complete market size, we can talk about it, but as per us, especially in the US, when we are talking about funding it by insurance companies, it's greater than $150 billion if we talk about the universal screening. That means every child that is screened, born that is screened, is covered into the scope of work. We align to 3 SDG goals, as our solution is completely available or probably aligns well with the special education and ensuring the health and the education services for children. Totally available on iOS and Android, improves the information symmetry, and then it can be customized to deliver any kind of therapy or treatment, let it be music therapy, target learning disability, occupational therapy, or Down syndrome. It can address any kind of developmental delays. This is our team. We are a team coming out from IIT Delhi. I come with almost 18 years of experience and finishing my PhD at IIT Delhi. My PhD focuses same on AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning in the area of autism detection and treatment. Swati is my wife. She has a board certified behavior analyst certification, comes with 21 years of experience. Dr. Pratosh is a assistant professor at IIT Delhi, almost 13 US patents in the area of computer vision. And Dr. Joshua Pitchard runs multiple clinics in United States side, almost 10, and then has over 20 years of experience in the autism management side. We have a team of 27 very highly motivated people who are working on the AI, machine learning, and the tech side and the clinical psychology side. Our major competitors are companies like Cognova, Gemini, and Central Reach, all predominantly coming in from the US. As I said, our traction has been majorly on the clinical trials, signing up with clinics amid COVID, and then taking the clinics, taking our intervention app to multiple clinics across, addressing multiple disabilities in India, Bangladesh, and US. We want to reach to 10,000 people this year, or 10,000 families this year. We probably are red this year. Next year, our revenue is expected to touch around $500,000. And this is some of the screenshot of the mobile app, available in almost 6 languages, Indian 6 languages.
Okay, judges.
Maybe you can speak a little bit about the competitive landscape.
Sorry?
The competitive landscape. What other products are there?
Yes. So there is a company called Cognova who recently received the FDA clearance on performing diagnosis, remote diagnosis using a mobile app and video-based data. So that's one of our biggest competitors. Indian government has funded recently to us around $200,000 to develop a diagnostic, to transform the screening solution into a diagnostic solution. So we are there with them now. Another product is Central Reach, which is almost used by 100,000 clinicians in the United States. What we have done is we have done a gap analysis of our app with the Central Reach, and we identified 5 major points which Central Reach doesn't address. For example, functional behavior assessment, behavior management side, digital assessments that we ingrained in Cognable to make the existing users of Central Reach really interested in us, and that has shown really a good amount of interest. And the other thing we did was to incorporate 4 machine learning models that actually allow clinicians to handle more number of cases because the system is continuously recommending them what to do with the children's program, and that allows them for an additional revenue because every child that they intake at a clinic level, at least in the US, is covered by the insurance side as well. So it improves the intervention and treatment quality, and it improves the inclusion in the school, and it improves the total market size and market structure as well.
Can you talk a little bit about your market entry strategy into the US and how that's been going?
Yes. So in the US, my co-founder, Dr. Josh, he's a president of Florida Association of Behavior Analysis, and we have been talking now to 3 very large clinics with almost 2,000 plus learners or children enrolled with them. The idea is not to typically grow and try do social media stuff. Idea is to really go and talk to 5 large clinics, understand their problems, explain what our solution can do for them, what the current solution providers are not able to do. And we have seen a decent success. One of the very large clinics in the United States, we are into a due diligence stage with them, where our solution is evaluated by a third party in terms of technological landscape, disaster recovery, and backups, etc. After the 5 of the presentations that we did with the clinical staff. And that's a very interesting proposition of 2,500 clients straight away moving to us, because we are kind of doing the make to build for them, based on the best practices that we have discussed over last 6 months with the clinical team.
I guess just one follow-on question. What is the attrition rate, or once someone buys this and starts using it, how long do they use it? Is there any turnover?
Yeah. So in India, what we have seen if it is coming and getting prescribed by a doctor, the stickiness is very high. It's probably 6 months to 8 months. Family would stick to it. But yes, if it is coming directly, because it's very much influenced by the recommendation or a doctor who comes and writes it as a digital prescription. And that's why we are focusing now totally on B2B2C. We are more working with doctors and clinicians to become their solution provider on the technology side, allowing them to enable better therapy and intervention services. And our focus right now is totally to work as a software company, not as software and service company as of now.
Why is the duration of use 6 to 8 months? Why isn't it longer?
So one of the biggest reason is, especially this is I shared those numbers from India, because once a patient starts those intervention services, he's with a doctor, and this has been in the middle of COVID. All this stickiness with these numbers I'm telling you are in the middle of COVID. We launched last year in April when COVID just started. So a parent starts a journey with us. He's always very eager to go to a physical therapy center, because that's what he feels is going to give him the best results. So he stays with us for 6 to 8 months. He's always very eager. As soon as the COVID situation improves, and this has been up and down in India, he goes and tries to another doctor where the physical therapy center is there, or he sees another doctor. A lot of clinics have a backward integration where they are recommended to their own clinics to be, to be a partner or to be using those solutions, and that probably allows a parent to have a trust on a doctor, which he should, and moves on there. So there have been parents who have been using a physical therapy center model and our digital service model as well. But yes, the usual use the time duration has been between 6 to 8 months.
And just one follow-up question. Do you expect that the duration will be similar when you end in the US market, or do you expect it will be longer?
No, I think the US, the duration is much longer, because the reason being is that the whole process of a clinic engaging a parent and starting up with the authorizations, insurance, onboarding, doing an assessment is pretty much mature process than we compare to a COVID situation in India, where majority of physical therapy centers are not working, and it is all digital. So the physical therapy center is something that is expected by a parent to work, and in-home intervention is something that the US is a very matured model in which a US market works. So these allows an engagement of at least 1 to 1.5 years. That has been a specific average. And I think our tool is not replacing a clinician there at all. Our tool is enabling a clinician to take up better decisions when an intervention services of a client is happening. So it's going to enable the quality of services, and the average time of stay is really around 1.5 years easily for a patient in the US.
Thank you.
Okay, if nothing else pressing, we will thank Cognable very much. And we are now going to move on to Testmaster.
Thank you very much.
If the Testmaster team can take the stage and share their slides.
Sure.
Thank you.
Can you see my slides, John?
Yes, seeing your slides in you. Go ahead.
So good morning or good afternoon. My name is Ofir Zukovsky. I'm the co-founder of Testmaster. We created Testmaster, a private tutor app in your pocket, in order to ensure that every student in the world can maximize his or her true academic potential. It was long ago when we heard about XTC that we actually started to deal with the problem, and I would like to show you today what we've come up with. The main challenge today around the world, and not only in Africa, is that there is a global problem, a huge problem for education. According to the UNESCO reports, we have 69 million teachers missing by the year of 2030, with sub-Saharan Africa being the highest affected area. In sub-Saharan Africa, on secondary school alone, we're talking about 17 million missing teachers. We're talking about large classes, sometimes more than 100 students per class. We're talking about over 50% of teachers that are unqualified in terms of skill sets. When we actually researched in Nigeria, which is our first market, we found cases with teachers of 7 and 8 years of education teaching in schools. And there's also a huge phenomenon of over 25% of teacher absenteeism. So this is a huge, huge world problem. Why do we care? If there's a number that I want you to keep in your mind, is that according to the UNICEF report, by 2050, 40% of the children under the age of 5 are originated from Africa. Our first market in Nigeria, we see that today only 62% Nigerian children are not completing high school, hence are not opening their doors to academic education. Some of you, of course, are related to education. Everybody remembers the vision of Professor Nicolas Negroponte of a computer for every child for $100. And what I would like to tell you today is that the time is right. And when we built Testmaster, this was one of the main drivers to our solution. If we look today at the prices of smartphones, we see that in Africa, they actually use, Android smartphone in a cost of around $50. And this is already fulfilling the need of having a computer device in every child, with every child. What we actually did is very simple. We took video, which is today the main medium, a rich media medium, and we have modeled all the content of K-12 education for mid-school and high school in Nigeria, and we modeled all the content into 15,000 learning objects, all of them solved step-by-step videos in a Khan Academy type of solution and presented in a very simple-to-use mobile app, what we call a private tutor in your pocket. Our students who actually use the system call it the teacher that never sleeps. It's very simple and intuitive to actually work with. So for example, if I am selecting physics, I'm presented with a series of questions in different topics. When I'm solving the solution and I'm selecting an answer, I get an immediate feedback whether I'm right or wrong. If I'm wrong, I have the ability with a click of a button to watch a full step-by-step explanation by the best teachers in Nigeria. We've done all of that with local teams that work with us in Nigeria. And then I get the private tutor experience, and I get a full step-by-step explanation that I can watch as much as I want. It's available for me based on my knowledge and available 24/7 without me leaving my home. We're also looking at providing an affordable solution that can be in the hands of the masses. So our solution, we provide a full year subscription at a cost of 5% of what would cost a private tutor in Nigeria, and also at around the 10th of what would cost a tutorial center. We've conducted the pilot among schools because we also have a B2G model. We work towards signing contracts with local states in Nigeria and in West Africa. And we were able to show, together in a collaboration with the University of Lagos, that in a pilot, the students performed around 25 to 38% better in English and math after running our program for a period of 3 months. Since our initiation, Private Tutor in Your Pocket, a teacher that provides you with a full explanation step by step, we were able to get over 200,000 downloads, more than 1 million videos watched in Nigeria alone, and we got a rank of 4.5 stars out of 5 in the Google Play. In the future, or what we are now working on, is actually taking the application and turning it into an AI-based tutor bot in a way that in a kind of natural NLP-wise communication, it will be able to communicate over Messenger or over Telegram with students all around the world and provide them with a personalized experience to study math, English, physics, biology, and other subjects. With regards to our team, I myself am a serial entrepreneur in the EdTech sector. I previously co-founded a company in the virtual classroom space and sold it to Kaltura, one of the largest media players in the world. And together with me is Ariel, Gerard, Idan from our Israeli team, and a lot of other very talented team members that are working with us in Nigeria and helping us, both teachers as well as pedagogical guidance, as well as customer care and services. So we will continue our journey to solve the globe's most extreme challenge. And I think that one of the things I want you to keep in mind is the magnitude and the impact of the solutions we can bring to the market. I've been visiting the schools in Nigeria. I've been visiting the land itself. And I can tell you that the situation is a total collapse of public education systems. And the students that were actually using TestMaster to prepare for their matriculation exam as well as their college entry exam have done significantly better, and many of them contact us up until today to give us feedback about how TestMaster actually helped them in an affordable way to prepare for their matriculation exam, got good scores, and get into the academy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have a question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Regarding the content creation. So you said that you're working with Nigerian teachers who are acting as tutors or creating some of this content.
Yep.
How do you intend to scale that beyond Nigeria every time you go into a new market? And
Great question. So up until today, Catherine, we've actually developed content for the JUM, which is the psychometric test, the college entry exam in Nigeria. People take around 2.5 million students take this exam every year. But we also developed the content for the WAEC and NECO. WAEC is the West African Education Council, and this is a test that actually is relevant for multiple countries in West Africa. So the curriculum and the level is very much similar. And we focus on Africa. So our goal is to lead the EdTech sector in Africa, and our content can be very much reused across different countries within West Africa, which speaks English. And after that, we have plans to also provide content to East Africa, which is more French-based content. And just to add to that, we've also built the mechanisms around the pedagogical aspect and how to actually create the learning objects. So all the content we have created is our own IP based on a research we did analyzing 20 years of curriculum and tests in Nigeria and in West Africa. And we have a mechanism today that actually knows how to go into a country and provide a full-scale content within 6 months.
Hi, I think in one of your slides you talked about a 10 cents cost of user acquisition cost.
Yeah.
Could you comment a little bit on those channels, on how you're doing that, and then also what is the lifetime value of these clients?
Sure. So, Africa, on one side, it's challenging, but on the other side, really, the customer acquisition costs, surprised us on the positive side. We were using platforms such as Google Display and Search, as well as SEO. The JUMP is the psychometric test of Nigeria, and it's the third largest word in terms of search capacity in Nigeria. So we were using Google, we were using Facebook in order to reach the audiences. It was done mainly on the digital side. On the B2G side, we are talking today with 3 different states in Nigeria that actually agreed. The head of education agreed to actually adopt the technology and start pilots with Testmaster in schools across the country.
And then just on the lifetime value the
lifetime value, we saw many. We give the license for a period of a year, so we saw a lot of renewals. We saw people in the last round, the test that we did. We actually provided the solution with different price points. So we actually see to the extent of people renewing the license 8 times. Some of the users actually used to go into a low entry price and then renewed it again and again and bought the bigger license. So we have a yearly license, and then we even provided a weekly license. It's a freemium model, so you can actually download the app and start using it. The 2 exercises in each topic are free to watch, so people can actually experience the product.
Hey, any others, or we'll move on?
Go ahead. One question is this, do you see your product and services expanding beyond Africa?
So as a start from the technology perspective, Chris, we definitely see that because we're building an infrastructure that can scale to different regions, specifically Southeast Asia, India, as well as Africa. But the first market that we want to tackle and actually lead is the African market. It's an untapped market. The reason behind that is that it's a huge market in terms of capacity. If we look at world demographies 20 years forward, we see, for example, Lagos in Nigeria being one of the largest city in the world. So while population is dropping in the US and Europe, the African markets are growing. 40% of children under the age of 5 being African. See the problem that they have with collapsing education systems. We look at it as a solution that can mitigate a lot of this risk. And the feedbacks that we get from our end users is amazing. So we've already reached, product market fit, and we're moving forward.
If you were to go beyond Africa, what would be the number one thing you would change, either in your execution or product offerings, as you address, arguably more competitive markets outside of Africa?
So we definitely think that there is a huge potential in countries like Vietnam and India, where we're looking at markets with over 100 million people in population. And so our immediate markets are to expand in West Africa with the content that we have, to reach an audience of close to 10 million annual potential students. After that, our goal is to go to and revisit Vietnam and India. For those 2 markets, the product itself is very easy to use. We've invested a lot of efforts with usability studies, but the content will have to change. And the market we are addressing is the mass volumes of individuals that only need to have a mobile phone in their hand and we can provide them with the full digital content.
Thank you.
Okay, any more? Or we should be done. All right. Thank you very much, Ophir, and thank you to
very much.
Testmaster. They came to us from the XTC Israel competition. Now we are going to Screeware, which came to us from the XTC Global competition in Europe. If Carol is, I see you there. Here we go.
Yes.
This is Screeware.
Hello, can you hear me? Well?
Yes,
okay.
Decently. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, guys. I'm Karol. I'm CEO of Screeware. Huge cheers from Poland. But let me just jump to right to the problem, to the heart of the problem. I believe that COVID highlighted a long-standing truth that we are still doing a terrible job educating children and preparing teachers to face new challenges. And those challenges are digitization, so use of digital skills, of course, and innovation in methodology, the way they operate, the way they talk to children. And the teachers, whether we like it or not, are the critical factor in equalizing student learning outcomes. And our job is to make sure that they are not being replaced by some AI or other technology, because it's definitely the human factor that takes a lot of shape and that takes the shape of mentoring and that can really create engagement. So we need to provide the teachers with tools for professional development in order for them to be better, while supporting them in experimentation and introduce curriculum innovation in the classroom. So our solution for that is the ScreeLab. This is the one-stop shop school laboratory, K-12 laboratory, that combines 3D printing, e-learning, 3D design with robotics and programming all together. So ScreeLab embraces a STEAM interdisciplinary methodology, develops motoric skills, manual skill set, and encourages experimentation. And also is ready to be used in a hybrid learning environment, so either in classroom or remotely. And the brains of the ScreeLab is our educational platform for the teachers. It's called Screeware Academy. And the academy contains interdisciplinary scenarios across 8 different subjects. The scenarios, for instance, across biology, geography, math, and physics, these like core curriculum subjects can be explained by the use of robots, for instance, of the use of programming, of the use of sensors, explaining, for instance, how does the wave work, and the wave can be programmed, and the sensor is being plugged to the electronic circuit. So we have, with this one laboratory, we can really cover all teachers, create an environment for them to share the equipment among them, and to actually using on daily basis to deliver the core curriculum that is across many subjects is really the same. Most of the time is the same, but needs to be, of course, localized to meet some cultural differences. Except for the scenarios, we have a project, so really interdisciplinary kind of narrative contexts that we put scenarios all together, and e-courses. E-courses are onboarding and training material for the teachers to improve their methodology and also to learn how to use all our tools in the ScreeLab. And the tools are in the following. So what's our unique use case is the promotion of the vocational educational training path. So after COVID, we can observe that there's even higher demand for technical skills, and many firms need to localize production closer to the market, need to bring down back the supply chain. And the vacancies, the technical schools are empty. So what we do, we provide this engaging, personalized learning experience. We give tools for children to express themselves, but at the same time, like guide teachers step by step how to actually use it in a classroom. And we put a lot of effort on developing the soft skills along with the technological skills. So overall, we believe we deliver a truly personalized learning experience for primary school kids, for them to help them discover or redefine their passions. And interestingly, our use case has been sponsored and recognized by several corporate partners and NGOs who funded 13 implementations of laboratories during COVID, during lockdown, really, in Poland. So in terms of attraction, our sales are just in the first quarter has matched the annual result for 2020. This year we should grow 4 to 5 times. The teachers like and even recommend our Screen Lab, and we work our go-to-market. In a sec about that more. We work with distribution partners, and the most important, like a factor or risk for us, is for the distribution partners to provide teacher onboarding and training locally. So we send the equipment, we do the software, we integrate, we provide all the training materials. We also have partners for hardware to provide global services of hardware, but we need the actual implementation training to go to the school and guide teachers in the first day. And our business model for now is B2G, B2B, B2G. We sell directly and via the distribution network, sell the complete solution, and the recurring revenue component is coming from the access to the content, so access to the academy, onboarding tools. We've also collected feedback from parents while selling it for the last couple of years, and we have a plan for launching a new product line that is very complementary and using our strong advantages. But about that in a second. What's our secret sauce, I would say, because there are a lot of 3D printers out there, robots, and even e-learning tools. But what we have is like one integrated solution that once introduced to the school can be used and shared among many teachers and can be used from primary school to even secondary schools. And we are ready, like the whole software that we created is ready to be integrated. We've already integrated with external 3D printing maker, one of the largest in the world. We are also co-selling partner of Microsoft. Microsoft is generating leads for us, and we sell the academy, which is run on their cloud. And we also been created with a community-based 3D model community. There are 60,000 models, and it's growing constantly. So it's really, we try to growth hack our way through and focus on sales. And the team behind Screeware is really a mix of energy, passion, and experience. Our board members have previous startup experience. Some of them failed miserably, and some of them managed to build a business to over 10 million euro of revenue and instant profitability. So guys, as I promised at the end, we believe that what COVID also taught us is that there's a fine line and between education and play, and education has been detached from schools, from the actual buildings of schools, and therefore is moving more to the home setting. And of course, this is I think, logical step for us that we want to experiment with part of our Screen Lab, so just a robotic solution and the brick system to build stuff. And we've already launched the MVP, just selling this simple construction kit with an access to the 3D design tool that we built. It's being tested, it's being improved on, we collect feedback, and we are getting ready to provide new upgrades, new electronic upgrades, improve mobile app to introduce a real-life context and gamify the learning experience, and also to really create a really personalized smart toys, if you will, that also guide children from ages from 6 to the teenage and give them play and learn experiences at home. So in the end, our goal really and our passion is to empower both educators and kids and help them achieve full potential in this new STEAM revolution. I'm Karol, CEO of Screeware, and I wait your questions. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you talk a little about revenues? It sounds like you've grown. You said Q1 was 4 or 5 times 2020 revenues.
So Q1 was at the level of 2020, so the revenues were 250,000 euro. This year we expect to reach 1 million euro of revenue. And we're pretty bullish on that because there are new programs that need to be spent in the next 3 years in Poland alone. And this program is going for 50 million euro for equipment, teacher training, software content. We can basically play with our lab and either present it as a teacher improvement solution or a robotic solution or a software content. However we like, we have very many cards in the deck, so to say, to approach different funding.
And can you also talk a little bit about how you could expand to other markets outside of Poland, like what's needed from that perspective?
Of course. So when we go to the market, we do the prospecting. We need to find the right distribution partner, the reselling partner. And for us at this moment, the most important, the critical success factor is for a distributor to, of course, know the market and go for the certain funding. According to our experience, most of the time needs to be spent on actually finding the right budgets and preparing proposals for them to fill in. But also the distributors or resellers need to have a team of teacher trainers. So we provide the teacher training and onboarding. They need to go to the school, put the equipment out there, train the teachers, organize webinars step by step. We have all like an implementation training prepared for them, but they need to conduct it. And as a so to say gun for them, they also can charge extra service fee for that implementation training, and they do it according to local standards, however they can price it.
Any others? Okay, I guess we have consensus on that. So Carol, thank you very much. I see the nice display of your products behind you.
Yeah,
and we are now going to move across the pond to North America and equal reality. Rick Martin, I believe you're up and sharing your screen. Please go ahead.
Hey, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. All right, hi, I'm Rick Martin and I'm a co-founder of Equal Reality. And at Equal Reality, we do diversity and inclusion training in VR. We allow you to walk a mile in someone else's shoes to feel what it's like to experience discrimination or bias. So in the times we're living in, inequality is in the spotlight. From the Black Lives Matter movement to Stop Asian Hate to the Me Too movement. Since we started our company 5 years ago, we've seen things change significantly. For example, in the healthcare sector, we saw diversity and inclusion largely go from a nice to have to an absolute need to have. For example, in the US alone, some Black communities were dying at 6 times the rate of white communities for COVID. COVID really highlighted that people can die because of things like unconscious bias and discrimination. And generally, there's a recognition that systemic bias is the outcome of our collective individual biases and that things need to change. But when we started this company 5 years ago, McKinsey did a report showing that it will take over 200 years for there to be fair representation at the C-suite, just for gender, and that diversity programs were failing. And one of the key reasons was there was a lack of empathy and a lack of behavior change. At the same time, when we started this, Stanford had years of research showing that for perspective, diversity and inclusion training, VR outperformed traditional methods of learning, especially for empathy and behavior change. So 5 years ago, we started Equal Reality and we brought diversity and inclusion training to industry. We really set out to shift the dial and actually drive empathy and behavior change. So we leverage fully immersive virtual reality with the highest level of interaction that we've seen in industry. Our experiences importantly have 3 elements. First, we put you into a virtual reflection so that you can take on a new virtual body as your own. This is called the body transfer process in virtual reality. Then we put you in what we call an empathy experience, where you can feel what it's like to experience things like discrimination and recognize bias. Then we take it a step further. We allow you to practice behavior. This is great for things such as bystander intervention, allyship, or difficult conversations. We also reveal to you insights about your own biases, like who you looked at more and what decisions you made. And for the diversity and inclusion industry, this is a holy grail. But importantly, our stories are impactful because of how we co-design it. We ensure that our stories are informed by those with lived experience to ensure maximum authenticity. This is a part of our secret sauce. But what we really found over the years is that our experiences really start the conversation with diversity and inclusion. And when blended with other learning programs, it makes them more effective. And for the last 5 years, with many clients, our data has really showed unprecedented results for empathy and behaviour change. And we are recognised as world leaders. And in 2019, we actually won the Learning Technology of the Year by the Industry of Learning Professionals because of the results we got with the client. And we were chosen as innovators to watch by the VR training industry body in 2020. So we know what we do is in demand. We've seen our training run in every continent besides Antarctica. We are used by some of the biggest organisations in the world, and it is growing now faster than ever before. And the technology is becoming significantly more accessible and therefore scalable, particularly with the addition of our web browser compatibility, which was an innovation and pivot because of COVID. But just this month alone, we locked in 200K's worth of contracts, and excitingly, we created a joint product venture with one of the largest hospital systems in the US to create diversity and inclusion training for the healthcare industry. And we've also released a new library of products. But we believe that equality should not be 200 years away, like McKinsey said. So if you want to join us, let's try and make it less than 10. Let's make equality a reality, and please reach out if you want to join our mission. Thank you.
Okay, questions, please.
Actually, I did have a question about the team. Oh, sorry, Amanda.
No, go ahead.
About the team. You went to a slide, but I don't know. You didn't mention anything about the team makeup.
Yes, thanks for the question. I didn't put it in because we didn't have enough time, and I really wanted to get the product description because it's quite a visual thing. So I'm just going to go to our team slide down here. Sorry. This is a little bit outdated, I'm going to be honest, but I want to highlight the important thing about our team. So it's divided into two sections. The technical side, which is looked after my co-founder, Brendan. We met in Wollongong 6 years ago, and then myself looking after with Leonie on the co-design, client and co-design. So that's broadly our team. And I want to also mention that as we go in and grow into different new markets like the US, we want to be as inclusive and diverse as possible. So we represent the markets that we're going into. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your revenue model and then that slide with all the logos? Are those current customers of yours?
Yeah, a lot of them, yes. So actually I need to update some of the logos as well, to be honest. But sorry, let me go back. So yes, our first client was the Australian Navy. Right now, the client we're most, which one should I talk about? A lot of these have been users of our library previously, and some of them have been clients that we partnered with to co-create new content. That specifically was looking at what we believe were the most pertinent issues of that organisation or that industry at the time, and worked with them to, for example, look at patient groups, advocate groups and patients to look at issues around bias and inclusion within, for example, the hospital system, or end-of-life discussions and things like that, depending on who we're working with.
And usually is the end client you're selling to like human resources in these companies?
It used to be, but not so much anymore. Typically, we sell to a mixture of innovation, leadership. So actually the C-suite often are looking at what we're doing. For example, with the Navy, we worked directly with the chief of the Navy for their cultural change program. It's not really HR, to be honest, although they are brought in the design process.
So On the slide, which of these are current customers, revenue generating customers?
So one of the big pieces of work we're doing at the moment is GSK down the bottom. We're building new content with them. I need to update this because our biggest clients are actually not on here at the moment. So, who else? Commonwealth Bank. So a lot of these clients had used our previous library and are subscribers to our library, which is different to co-creating content. We've co-created content, for example, with Commonwealth Bank, Navy. We did a bit of customization. We did one with Cornell University. Amazon used our things for our rollout. We're co-creating, obviously, with GSK. I'm trying to have a look through. And then there's some that are not, police, the New South Wales Police as well. We co-created content with.
How do you plan to keep ahead in terms of differentiation? Should more well-funded players enter the market? Is it through content? Is it through different types of technology or add-on services?
I think it has to do with the co-design process that we mentioned. We're still the only ones that we know that do this. So we are working to create authentic stories. We're not telling the stories ourselves, because we haven't seen anyone else in the market do that. We just work with groups to create authentic stories. But we're also still today, after 5 years, the only company that we've seen to use what the research showed as the most effective method for empathy, which is this reflection. And we haven't seen anyone else do this. And this is a key part of why virtual reality is really effective for perspective taking. And we've been doing this for 5 years, and no one else has. That's also another reason.
Is the revenue model based upon software only, or is the revenue that you get from the co-creation process?
So a large amount of our revenue at the moment is from the co-creation process, but we just released a library, which we have done in the past, which it grew a lot. That was just on a per head basis subscription model. We had to get rid of that library because the technology updated changed and not everything transferred over, and we're through the process of now uploading or creating the experiences onto the new technology, if that makes sense. We just released it this month.
It does. When you co-create with a client, then do you have the intellectual property rights to be able to share that newly created content with other customers?
In the past, we haven't always, but every piece of work that we want to do going forward, we want to make sure that it's publicly accessible, because we want this to be available to everyone. Mm-hmm. So, for example, this new deal that we're doing with the hospital system, the goal is to allow other hospitals to use this training and make sure it's best in class, but not just keep it within that hospital, but allow other medical schools, other hospitals to use this and go in a partnership with them. So yes, that's what we want to do with all different types of industries, and we'll do that going forward with everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John, are you on mute?
Sorry, yes. Masood, you're up now if you'd like to share.
Sure, thanks. Good morning, everyone. My name is Masood Duzan, CEO and co-founder of Jeep. At Jeep, basically what we do, we basically make any pen and paper to work like an Apple Pencil, an iPad. Also, we're able to make any marker to work on a normal whiteboard to turn that to a smart whiteboard. So that's basically what we are doing at Jeep. So this activity brings a lot of things to the education market and beyond. And when I say for the education market and beyond, is because writing is an essential part of our DNA. Basically, we've been using, it's for our learning, is for our creativity, and that's how the idea gets created. Normally, whatever in technology we see, normally created on a piece of paper or a group thinking on a whiteboard. But we are bringing these things, we're utilizing this physical whiteboard on paper for online classroom and remote team collaboration. Especially after COVID, we know the future is going to be a hybrid future for education and for the workplace. And inside the classroom and meeting rooms, normally we have just a physical whiteboard and not, with a smart whiteboards over there. And especially remote students or remote workers normally have only access to pen and paper. So our technology is very simple, utilizing the mobile phone camera. So as soon as you put your smartphone in front of a piece of paper and a pen, or put it in front of the whiteboard, through the artificial intelligence engine that we have, and is our patented technology, it understands the writing surface, captures your writing, then digitizes that and put it in front of the digital whiteboard that everybody can utilize and share and work together. There is so many use cases come out of this, especially around education. But among the last 4 or 5 years that we've been working on this technology, bringing it to market, we find that the main areas of education that we can address, especially on STEM subjects, on tutoring, assignment submission, teachers would love still to mark on a piece of paper, test, quiz, and proctoring. These are the areas that we found that they found that very useful to use our application. This is a sample of the tutoring session. So the multiple whiteboard becomes available in front of the teacher and student. On one area, tutor can write the question, and the other section, the student can write the answer simultaneously using a piece of paper and a pen or whiteboard and a marker. And both at the same time can see the activity in real time together. We've been fortunate, working with many partners to bring it to this point, but two of our main partners that we are going to market with them is Canvas. Canvas is basically our learning management system that we are already integrated into that allows the student directly submit their assignment inside the Canvas. So there is no more scanning, no activities, and they can do actually the quizzes inside the Canvas and submit. Subsequently, teacher can go and mark these assignments as well. At the same time, we're working with the WebEx to bring these things at a collaborative environment. We work inside the WebEx team collaboration so they can work together and continue working on the subject, on the tutorials or other matter, and take the same concept to the next world when they go to the workplace. So our competitive space, nobody really doing what we are doing. Everyone is doing it on a different set of framework, and they based on the hardware. So they either coming with the smart whiteboards that's very expensive and is is not accessible to everyone. Others they coming with the Apple Pencils and tablets that provides still the hardware solution. The others go fully digital. But the differentiator that we have here, we are utilizing that pen and paper and a whiteboard in that scenario. Or we are web-based and we are offering multicast. So multi people at the same time, they can basically write together. We've been working with many educations through the conferences, through the Canvas that we have been through. Over 100 institutions has basically signed up to use our application. Our early adopters have been working on the pilots with them at the San Jose State University and University of Southern California, USC Marshall, that basically are early adopters that working with us to make these things available for students, and they're developing this together. So our total addressable market, we are working on a visual collaboration market. It's predicted to be now over $17 billion by 2027. But we're thinking in the next 3 years, we easily can achieve over $54 million of revenue. Our team been working for this for a long time, and me and my co-founder, Wahid and James, have over 30 years of experience of selling to education and selling these kind of collaboration tools into the market. And my CTO, Hossein, is basically is a guru on the artificial intelligence activity. He won many awards and he's been praised by large corporations like Cisco as how advanced our technology is and the way that our technology works. I have a really good, team of advisor, more than what you see on the screen, but these are my main advisors that I'm working with them on a regular basis. One of the most famous one in this industry is Jim Margrove. He's basically the person who created the LiveScribe, the digital writing industry that we are working on at this stage. So that's where we are. We just, that's who I am, and that's our solution is it's something simple, been around for thousands of years. We're bringing back to the life, and we promoting the creativity and using the writing for the collaborative environment moving forward. Thank you. Any question?
Hi, Masood. Could you explain a little bit more about how you're using AI for your technology? I didn't understand completely the transcription technology from the whiteboard to the paper.
So basically, it's the mobile acts. We basically turning your mobile camera to act like an artificial eye. So your mobile camera looks at the surface. First detects there's a surface that is a whiteboard or a paper. Then it's everything that happens in our cloud. So it detects the environment, so understand there's a paper in front of it or there's a whiteboard in front of it. Once it understands the surface is there, then it extracts the data and recreates that data on the cloud. So what you saw I wrote at the beginning on the whiteboard, basically the simple thing was I put my mobile on a stand in front of the whiteboard behind me. So what it does basically is understand there's a whiteboard, captures the writing from that, and then recreates that on the cloud. So all these things happening on the fly as in our AI engine.
So I'm just trying to understand the function just because of the market implications. So for example, if I just write a sentence on the whiteboard, would you be able to, does the technology not only digitize it onto a smartphone for collaboration, but could you also produce that into a usable document, like a test in Word or PDF?
So the things that, yes, you can turn it to a PDF, you can save it as a PDF, but actually there are multiple applications available that actually turn your writing to text, because now it's vectorizing your writing. So it's not the image that comes over there, it's actually a data right now. So your writing is a data as if you're writing on with the Apple Pencil on an iPad. So then we can actually turn it to text for you if it's required. So these applications available. So we can just integrate that. We don't need to develop that. We can turn it to text because now it's not the image anymore. It's turned to a data so you can actually use it.
Okay, thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Chris. Any other questions?
Can you talk a little bit about the feedback you've gotten from your pilot customers to date?
Sure. The things that, there is the feedback that we got so far is the use case, especially on the education for the assignment submission. So today, just the process of assignment submission, if in a written assignment, that, on a STEM subject especially, when they write it, the student need to scan this document and then basically upload it to the canvas and then send it to the teacher. So not always they do this process properly, and it's going to cost a lot of effort to get to the hand of the teacher. So the simplest thing that we find out, the simple solution for that is, as a student, they write, it gets captured and goes straight to the teacher for marking. And this can happen during their live session as a quizzes as well. So they can publish a quiz and they can write and they can be submitted. We used to have a dedicated special hardware pen that we're using. And that was the difficulties for the scaling the activity that we have. So we've been working the last 2 years to turn it to artificial intelligence so we can work with any pen and any paper right now. So right now the scalability is much easier because you don't need any special devices and everybody has basically a smartphone to use. And the other activity that came, right now we are about to launch it actually to the 21 million paid user that Cisco WebEx has in education, outside of education. It's been qualified by Cisco. That's from the customer. That's a huge need for tutoring sessions, especially on education, and the same subject that I mentioned, assignment submission, to take these things to the customer. And this evolves the activity that they currently really can't do in the hybrid model.
Okay, well, if that's it, we do need to move on. Thank you, Masood, very much. And our next presenter will be Sense Education. So Seth, I think you're on. If Masood, if you can unshare.
Sure.
Thank you. And Seth, if you want to go ahead with sense.education.
Sorry, this is Karen. I'm going to be presenting for Sense.
Oh, okay. Karen, please go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Karen Perry-Shamir. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Sense Education. We're an early stage startup that is focused on increasing access, choice, and performance in education for students, teachers, employers, and other constituents. We're refugees from EdTech. We're improving performance based on data is everything. And we came to Sense with that in mind. Applying these principles to education can have a profound impact on society. We've built real technology, received Emmy and Academy Awards, and real companies, Dakota and Pure 39, and 3 exits to public companies. We're really good at what we do in education. Our technology has won multiple awards and grants based on our ability to impact students with better feedback, including the European Union Seal of Excellence and a prestigious Israel Innovation Authority grant. Education is really important as a matter of equity and fairness, as a matter of health and mobility, as a matter of reducing poverty, economic growth, reducing conflict, feeding people, climate change, and is one of the most important steps in life. But quality education is really expensive. As the pandemic shut down and moved universities online, this meme came out from students at the University of Chicago. If you compared the price they were paying to other streaming services, which is essentially what the University of Chicago turned into, the cost difference is obscene. What's missing is scale. Netflix has 150 million customers and Chicago has 2,500. Quality education is inaccessible for most. It's sold in bundles. Supply is constrained. Columbia students can only take Columbia courses. Institutions control certification, job readiness, assessment, and content choices. Teachers, the most important factor in quality, are bundled with the institutions. At Sense, we think broadly about education. How should we educate? For a job or for the soul? There are no right answers, and the implications for students and student preferences are huge. Employers also have preferences. Who they want to hire, what skills are they looking for? Whose skills they value and what skills do they value in a quarterback, and where they choose to put their dollars as a metaphor. The interrelated problems of the lack of scale and the ability to register preferences drive up costs, limit access, reduce job readiness, funding, and fitness. In Hollywood, everyone can see The Godfather. Why can't education do the same? So didn't MOOC solve this problem? Going online scaled distribution, but it didn't scale the interactions between students and teachers. That's half of the experience. And it didn't solve the ability to register preferences. Accreditation, assessment, choice are still bundled by the institution. Sense solves the issue of scale. Scaling education traded off quality for price. Multiple choice questions for proofs. Assessment got dumbed down. Would you hire an architect who only took multiple choice exams? So how does Sense do it? We all start with hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of open-ended submissions, spreadsheets, programs, proofs. Sense AI discovers common ways that students solve the problem, right or wrong. And we use those patterns to group submissions into a few archetypes. We enable teachers to have a greater impact, automating what machines do best, which is finding patterns, and letting teachers do what they do best, generate personal and specific help, hints, feedback, and grids. And like Google, the more submissions, the better the quality of education. That means no bias, no shame, no cheating, just instant, ubiquitous, all hours accessibility for the best help a teacher can provide for lower and lower unit costs. Our customers like Georgia Tech and Southern New Hampshire love us. We're growing. We're going at 6x, reaching thousands of students every month. So we solve scale, but scale is meaningless if the constituents of education systems can't express their preferences. Markets have been used to allocate kidneys, rationalize doctors matching, and markets let students, employers, governments, institutions, and foundations express their preferences. Want to major in 14th century French romantic poetry, get a job at Google, or apprentice to a pipe fitter. The more transparent the preferences, the better the fit. Markets will spawn new opportunities for students, more accessible content, new degrees suited for jobs and life, and the ability to transparently fund where it's most needed. It's time education really benefits from digital scale and technology. We have the opportunity to impact the lives of 380 million higher education students over the next 10 years, and many more who wouldn't even consider this path. Thank you.
What is your business model?
We price per student. So when we're selling to universities, and it's kind of like a lowering scale. So they benefit from using us more on more students. So we have in Southern New Hampshire, for example, have a course that over the year gets to several thousand students every semester. And the more they use us, they can reuse the models that they've built with us, our AI. So with usage, the pricing can go down. Does that answer your question?
No. So you're talking about a usage model. I'm asking about the business model.
So we're targeting universities, and that's kind of our revenue. Mm-hmm. What do you mean by business model, Ben?
Do you license the entire university? Do you license an individual instructor?
Okay, I see what you're saying. So you're asking about the marketplace. So we're currently working with universities, and the answer would be that our pricing to universities is based on kind of usage per course. And that's kind of where we are right now with our go-to-market. When we're moving into the marketplace, the idea is we'll have a business model that kind of addresses everyone in the marketplace. So it'll be based on the content, the assessments, employers are going to play a role, and students have to play a role. So students would be kind of paying for the assessment. Employers will be participating, also using the marketplace as a service. And the content producers are probably going to be more of our partners than actually paying for the service that marketplace that provide. Does that make sense?
Seems really complicated. I'm looking for some simplicity in terms of how you're selling the product, or how you're pitching the product to a given university client.
So that's the answer with the per student. So the pitch to the universities is that they can scale the courses without scaling their staff. And if you're thinking of, if I have an example of Southern New Hampshire, they have a course that takes on thousands of students, and they keep adding instructors to scale up that course. And with us, they wouldn't need to do that because we'd be taking on all the assessment needs they have, which is their real bottleneck in how they're scaling these courses right now.
And do you license the service to them on a semester basis, an annual basis?
Annual.
Annual. And what about renewals?
That's a great question, because I just did that. They're kind of locked in with us, because once they invest the time in using our technology to provide this feedback and assessment, and now it's ready to go for the next 2 to 3 years until they decide to change the content of the course, they have no reason to stop using us. And they just keep renewing because they already invested that upfront work in writing the feedback. And now it can serve thousands of students for years to come. And that's really how they see the partnership moving forward.
Thank you. And just one final question. The revenues that the company has right now, did we talk about that?
No, I didn't bring that up. We're currently tracking to have $200,000 in 2021, and we expect to triple that in 2022.
Thank you.
I have a question. Are the students aware that this AI method is being used for their assessment? Do you let them know that up front?
That's a great question. We have clients that are doing different things. Mostly the answer is no. But they're interacting with the web interface. So if students can probably tell if there's some form of AI behind it. I don't think they're actively being communicating that this is what they're using to grade or to provide feedback.
So I guess that raises the question: how easy is it for you to test the accuracy of your AI? The feedback that you're providing for students' exams, because you could just imagine that any inappropriate response could be really detrimental to the student-teacher relationship.
Right, that's a great question. obviously, you know, there's the notion of regrades and the notion of student complaints. So that's something that we track to see how we're doing. And we also test ourselves our own models. So we basically leave a test set on the side to see how accurate our model would actually grade and provide feedback for a test set. So these are things that we're constantly tracking on our own. And the universities obviously have a huge interest in it because using our technology, the whole point is that they're minimizing the amount of kind of in-person contact they need with students. And if our technology wouldn't do its job, they'd see a lot more questions come up.
Have you seen any feedback from students? If they did, should be aware that their tests are being graded by an AI methodology.
If students gave us feedback about the actual use of AI?
Because in some instances, I'd imagine they'd be paying tuition and stuff like that. They would want more of a more interactive experience with their teachers actually reading their exams.
There's always a very human element because the humans are the ones that write the feedback in the grade. So there's always, even if you're taking off points, the TA or professor, whoever's doing it, is explaining exactly what is going on, like why they're taking off points. And that makes it feel more personal because the educator actually spent time writing that feedback. And hopefully, you know, if they're writing it in a tone that kind of sounds like who they are, the student can see like, oh, this is my TA actually wrote this for me. So there's that human element where the student does feel like it's personalized and coming from their educator, their professor.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Okay, if nothing else, jump in. But if nothing else, then that concludes Sense Education, and those are our 8 presenters for the day. So we thank everyone for watching. The judges, which I have sent you a note, we're moving to a private deliberation to make our choice. We thank you to the audience and to all of the people for participating. And that is it, and good day.